The kitten lay in the dirt, unmoving. Her tiny ribs barely rose with each labored breath, and her fur, once likely soft and white, was now matted with dried blood oil and the grime of the city. Most people passed by without a second glance. A few slowed down, shook their heads, and walked on. One woman whispered, "Poor thing," but didn't stop. Then came a voice, soft, steady, and filled with something different. "Hey, what happened to you?" Liam knelt down beside her. Mid-30s, quiet eyes, a mechanic by trade, he wasn't the kind of man who went around rescuing animals. But something about her, this fragile, forsaken creature, hit him in the chest like a punch. She didn't move as he extended his hand. Just a faint twitch of her whiskers. No hissing. No resistance. It was as if she had already given up. "You're not giving up on me," he murmured. He took off his jacket and wrapped her gently inside it, cradling her like something sacred. The people walking by looked at him like he was crazy. "Don't waste your time," one man called out. "That cat's already gone." Liam didn't answer. He just walked faster. His old pickup roared to life, and the jacket on the passenger seat pulsed slightly with shallow breathing. He turned the heater up high. 20 minutes later, he burst through the door of the only emergency animal clinic still open that late. "She's not dead," he said breathlessly. "You have to help her." The vet tech, a young woman named Kara, looked at the bundle in his arms and hesitated. "We'll try," she said, though her voice was heavy. "But you should know / she's in really bad shape. Internal injuries, dehydration, infection, she might not make it." He didn't blink. "Try anyway. Please." Hours passed. Liam sat in the waiting room, fingers laced together so tightly they turned white. The clock ticked louder than normal. Every time someone walked by, his head shot up. Finally, Kara returned. Her scrubs were stained, her eyes tired. "She made it through the night," she said softly. Liam exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for hours. "But it's touch and go. She's got a shattered leg, broken ribs, a ruptured spleen, and severe infection. Honestly, we don't even know how she was still alive when you found her." He nodded. "What can I do?" "She'll need time. Antibiotics. Surgery. It's going to cost a lot." Liam looked down. His hands were covered in engine grease. His work boots were splitting at the seams. But when he looked up again, his voice was clear. "I'll find a way." The next morning, he posted online. Nothing fancy, just a photo of the kitten wrapped in his jacket and a caption. Asterisk, they said she wasn't worth saving. "I don't believe that." Asterisk. People noticed. It started small. A few dollars here, a kind comment there. But soon, the story of the broken kitten and the quiet man who wouldn't give up began to spread. Animal lovers shared the post. One local news station picked it up. Then two. Then a national blog. By the end of the week, the fundraiser had tripled its goal. Liam came to the clinic every day after work. Sat beside her cage. Talked to her. Sometimes he read aloud from an old paperback just to fill the silence. One evening, he found her eyes open, dull but aware. "Hey, sunshine," he whispered. "Thought I lost you." She blinked slowly, and the faintest twitch of her tail tapped against the blanket. Liam chuckled. "You're tougher than you look." Surgery was scheduled. The day it happened, he paced outside the operating room like a father-to-be. Kara found him after it was done. Her mask was off, and for the first time in days, she smiled. She made it. Liam closed his eyes, then looked toward the ceiling as if thanking someone silently. But the battle wasn't over. Recovery would take weeks. She still couldn't walk. Infection still lingered. And not everyone believed she'd ever be more than a limp, fragile thing. Liam didn't care. He brought a soft bed for her cage, built her a tiny ramp, even rigged a little pulley system so she could play with a dangling toy from her perch. Day by day, she improved. First a twitch, then a paw stretching. Then one morning, Kara gasped. She stood. "Liam," she stood on her own. Liam dropped the wrench he'd been fiddling with and raced in. Sure enough, the kitten stood, wobbly, shaky, but upright. He knelt by the cage. "You just keep proving him wrong, don't you?" She meowed for the first time, a sound so soft it could barely be heard. He laughed. "That's the spirit." But just as things began to look hopeful, the vet called Liam aside. "There's something you need to know," she said, her expression grave. He felt the cold settle in his chest. "What is it?" Kara hesitated, then spoke. "The infections reached her spine. We need to make a decision. Fast." And just like that, the ground seemed to shift beneath Liam's feet. To be continued. Liam didn't speak for a long time. The weight of Kara's words settled over him like a storm cloud. He looked through the glass at the kitten, so small, so brave, and imagined her in pain again, or worse. Is there no other option? He finally asked. Kara sighed. There's one possibility. A specialist in the next city over. They've had success with this kind of spinal infection. But it's high risk. And it's expensive. Liam stared at the floor. The fundraiser money was almost gone. Used for surgery, meds, daily care. He'd already borrowed from friends, sold old tools. How long do I have to decide? 24 hours. Maybe less. She's stable, but barely. That night, Liam didn't go home. He stayed in the clinic lobby, dozing in the chair, boots propped against his backpack. In the early hours of the morning, he made his choice. He walked into the staff kitchen, pulled out his phone, and hit record. Hey everyone. Liam here. You've helped me and this little fighter once already. And I'm sorry to ask again. But we've hit another wall. The infection's in her spine. She needs a specialist or we lose her. If you can help, please, even a little, it could save her life. He posted the video. Within minutes, comments poured in. Asterisk donated. Keep fighting. Asterisk. Asterisk shared. This girl deserves her miracle. Asterisk. Asterisk, you're a good man, Liam. Asterisk. By sunrise, the donations began trickling in. Not fast. Not enough. But something. He made the call. We're bringing her to the specialist. They moved quickly. Kara helped load the kitten, now affectionately called Hope, into a temperature-controlled carrier. Liam drove. 90 miles of silent prayers, clutching the wheel like it was the last thing tethering him to reason. At the specialty clinic, they were met by Dr. Lin, a soft-spoken surgeon with decades of experience. She's a fighter, he said after reviewing Hope's charts. But this won't be easy. The surgery took 4 hours. Liam sat in a stiff plastic chair, gripping the frayed hem of his shirt. Outside, the sky turned from gray to gold, but inside, time refused to move. Then came the call. He stood as Dr. Lin stepped into the hallway. She's alive. And she responded better than we expected. Liam let out a breath that turned into a laugh, then into tears. He sat down hard on the bench, covered his face, and just let it all out. Hope wasn't out of the woods yet, but she had made it through again. The next few weeks were slow, painful, uncertain. Hope couldn't move her hind legs. For a while, they feared she never would. But Liam came every day, brought toys, talked to her, even played music, soft jazz from an old speaker. She seemed to like it. Then came the day Kara called with a video. It was blurry, shot from her phone, but clear enough. Hope dragged herself to the edge of her blanket, then, with a sudden jolt, lifted herself slightly on one trembling back leg. Liam watched, stunned. Then she did it again. And again. When he arrived at the clinic, she tried to stand when she saw him. Wobbly, unbalanced, but trying. You little miracle, he whispered, kneeling by her bed. The video went viral. Millions watched the moment she stood. Celebrities shared it. A major pet brand offered to sponsor her care. Messages of support flooded in. She became a symbol of endurance, of second chances, of what happens when someone refuses to give up. Liam didn't bask in the spotlight. He kept working long hours, coming in greasy from the garage to read to Hope, to rub her tiny ears, to build custom supports for her little legs. With time and therapy, Hope improved. She began walking again, first with a tiny harness, then unassisted. Each step was celebrated. Each day was a victory. One afternoon, Kara looked at Liam while Hope chased a feather toy across the floor. You know, she said with a smile, she's almost ready to be adopted. Liam blinked. The thought hadn't crossed his mind. Adopted? She's strong now. She could live a full life. We've had a few families express interest. Liam looked at Hope. She pounced clumsily on the toy, flipped over, and meowed loudly in protest. Let me think about it, he said quietly. That night, Liam went home for the first time in weeks. He stood in his kitchen, stared at the empty food bowl still sitting in the corner. Leftover from a dog he lost 2 years ago. He picked it up, washed it, and placed it back down. Then he set up a small bed near the heater, just big enough for one brave kitten. To be continued. A week passed. Liam visited Hope every day, but the thought of letting her go lingered in his mind like a low hum. He knew what the right thing was, give her the best home, the most comfort, maybe even a big family. A yard, toys, sunshine. But every time he walked into the room and saw her ears perk up, her body wiggle with excitement, he hesitated. On a quiet Saturday morning, he arrived early. Hope was waiting, pacing awkwardly but determinedly near the glass. Kara met him at the desk. "The Johnsons are coming today to meet her," she said gently. "They're good people." Liam nodded. He'd seen their application. Kids, a big house, even another cat. It sounded perfect. But his chest felt tight. "Mind if I spend a little time with her first?" Kara smiled. "Of course." He stepped into the enclosure and sat cross-legged on the floor. Hope immediately climbed into his lap and curled into a warm, sleepy ball. He stroked the soft fur behind her ears, the place she liked best. She purred. A deep, steady sound. "Hey," he whispered. "So, there's this family coming. Sounds like they'd really love you." Her purring slowed. She looked up at him with wide, blinking eyes. "I want you to be happy," he continued. "To have the best life. But I'd be lying if I said the thought of you not being around didn't gut me." She pressed her head into his chest. "Yeah," he chuckled softly. "Me too, kid." The Johnsons arrived around noon. Kara greeted them and led them toward the enclosure. Liam stayed inside, trying to be polite, trying to smile. The couple cooed. Their daughter reached out to pet Hope. But Hope didn't move. She stayed curled in Liam's lap, tail flicking slightly. When the child reached for her again, she turned and buried her face into Liam's hoodie. Everyone froze. Kara tilted her head. "That's not like her." The Johnsons smiled understandingly. "Maybe she's just nervous. We'll give her some space." But 10 minutes passed. Then 20. And Hope didn't budge. Finally, the father looked at Liam. "She seems pretty attached to you." Liam swallowed the lump in his throat. "Yeah, I guess she is." The man nodded. "Then maybe she's already found her home." They left without bitterness. Just warm smiles and a shared understanding. Kara turned to Liam afterward, arms crossed and a grin on her face. "So, should I fill out the paperwork, or are you going to pretend a while longer?" He laughed. "Yeah, let's make it official." The weeks that followed were like springtime after a long, brutal winter. Hope came home. Liam set up a cozy little corner in the living room just for her. She had a window perch with sunlight, a new bed shaped like a tiny racing car, and a feeding station he built himself. Every morning, she followed him to the door as he left for work. Every evening, she greeted him like a dog, racing to the hallway with tiny meows and a crooked tail. He taught her to high-five. She taught him that love sometimes finds you when you're covered in engine grease, lost in your thoughts, and not looking for anything at all. The story didn't end there. Hope's journey had inspired thousands. Schools invited Liam to talk about compassion. The fundraiser was reopened to help other emergency rescues. He launched a local nonprofit with Kara's help. One More Chance, dedicated to saving animals labeled Beyond Hope. Hope became the face of it all. Her picture was printed on banners, her little face peeking out from flyers. But at home, she was just Hope, quirky, sassy, and forever stitched to Liam's side. One night, as Liam sat on the couch with her sprawled across his lap, he whispered, "They said you weren't worth saving." But they were wrong. She stretched, purred, and nuzzled her nose under his arm. He smiled. "Truth is, I think you saved me too." Final narration to audience asterisk. Sometimes the world sees broken things and walks away. But if one person stops, just one, it can change everything. Hope didn't just survive. She thrived. And Liam? He discovered that even when the world tells you to give up, the heart knows better. Because love, real love, never looks away. If this story moved you, don't forget to share it. You never know who might need to hear it today. Thank you for watching. And always remember, never underestimate the power of one small act of kindness.